Okay, so next one we're going to look at is Zack. I came up with an awesome new app idea 5 years ago. Got as far as creating a UI and mock-up, then stopped due to my own limitations. He says one limitation. Should I just throw in the towel and work on something new?
Mm. So my question would be, where did those 5 years go, Zach? Maybe that's another webinar. I mean, we hear this a lot. We're guilty of it ourselves, where you have an idea for a product, maybe you take some first step, but then for some reason, whatever that reason is, it just sits there dormant, maybe doesn't come to see the light of day. I think the one thing I would say is, would it hurt to kill it now, or do you want to give it a go? And if you think that it's worth giving a go, then what's the first step you can take to validate that and make sure that you don't throw money and time at it when actually there's no value to it? Is it still relevant 5 years on, would be my question. Does the problem still exist that you're trying to solve? Are there other alternatives out there that weren't there 5 years ago? Because 5 years in the startup world is like a lifetime. It's like 50 years. So I would be curious to know, is it still relevant, and do you feel like you're the best person to deliver this? And if so, what can you do to at least test it out and put it out there?
Yeah, I think following where your energy is, and if for some reason your energy hasn't been on this app idea over the past 5 years, that could be a signal. I think the other interesting thing is and we hear this a lot when people come up to us when saying, I have this app idea. There's always an app rather than actually there's this problem I want to solve. I think related to what Laurence was saying in terms of, is the problem still relevant, is can you articulate this thing as a problem you want to solve rather than as a beautiful app with certain features? Because that can sometimes be a red herring when you're trying to think about whether you should continue or not. Yeah,
I think, like you said, trying to break it down into, don't start with the solution, I would say. And yeah, I think the other thing is looking at it as an experiment. So I think one of the challenges we see people face as they come onto any startup program, whether it's ours or an accelerator, is they really see it as, this is a business. I'm building a business, a company. There's a lot of red tape and hard work ahead. Whereas I think you should just look at it as just running some experiments, just looking at this thing you've got, this idea you've got, and just saying, what's the experiment I can run that can help me decide whether to go to the next stage, and then decide, is it worth building a company and hiring and asking for funding? But right now it's just an idea. Until I actually share it with the world, it's meaningless. So I would just say try and validate it soon.
Own the idea, really get to know it, but don't get owned by it, because a lot of the time people get too precious about their idea. And like Laurence says, the experiment mindset is not to be too emotionally attached to it, because what you want to see, you want to kill it quickly if it isn't a good idea, and then move on to the next one. Because I'm sure you've got loads of ideas in your head if you had the passion and energy to start that thing in the first place.
Yeah, but just don't be one of those people that every time a new startup comes out saying, I wish I'd have done that, I thought of that 5 years ago.
Yeah. I hope your idea wasn't Instagram.
But I think there's a great Derek Sivers talk where he talks about a formula between idea and execution. And I think it's about something like, if you've got an amazing idea and it's either not been executed at all, i.e. you haven't taken the first step, or, you've taken a very small risk, then it's meaningless. It's worth nothing to any investor or anyone. So, you can have an average idea, but it's well executed, that can actually supersede any great idea that hasn't been brought to life yet. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah, we want you to have a habit of executing.
Yes.
And not in the killing people sense.
Flex your action muscles.
Hey, right, write that one. Get a tattoo of that one.